Guys, this is what it looks like when a party is out of ideas. Welcome to Unfiltered. I'm Cupp. Republicans in state legislatures around the country are attempting to pass draconian laws that make it harder to vote, targeting especially minority voters, voters with disabilities, and younger voters, i.e. people who usually vote Democratic. The most recent legislation in Texas, which state Democrats blocked on Sunday, is known as Senate Bill 7, and it was larded up with all kinds of barriers to voting, from restrictions to early voting, Sunday voting, drive-through voting, and mail-in voting. It added requirements like showing a driver's license or social security card, even for mail-in ballot applications. And it limits election workers' effectiveness in helping people vote, while expanding the role of partisan poll watchers. If this is your idea of public service, it's a pretty dystopian one. From Florida to Georgia to Texas, Republicans are spending taxpayer time, money, and resources not solving problems, but fighting to limit your access to the democratic process itself. Why are they doing this? Because they're truly out of ideas. That's why. They've alienated the American people, so state legislatures are their last resort to influence the outcomes of upcoming elections. It turns out that backing former President Donald Trump for 4 years, backing his politics of personal revenge, lost them the House, the Senate, and the White House. You'd think, in that case, Republicans, especially those in leadership, would consider returning to the ideas, principles, and policies that elected Presidents Ronald Reagan and George W. Bush, twice each, that won the GOP huge congressional majorities in the 1994, 2010, and 2014 midterm elections. You'd think they'd disavow the guy who turned off so many once reliable Republican voters that the party is literally shrinking. A Gallup poll from April shows the largest quarterly gap in major party affiliation since 2012. With only 25% of voters identifying as Republicans today. Instead, they're doing the opposite on both counts. They're shunning ideas in favor of gimmicks, and they're still fetishizing Trump, promoting his big lie conspiracy theory that the election was stolen, and hoping he'll run again in 2024. The efforts to make voting harder are a fairly direct admission that Republicans cannot win on their merits. And they know it. After so much quote-unquote winning under Trump, it seems as though Republicans are resigned to losing. So they're not even trying to sell you on their wares anymore. Think of the two parties like a giant department store. Parties are us, if you will. Each stocks the shelves and racks with products they want you to buy. Policies, messaging ideas, solutions to problems. While Democrats have loaded up their shelves with their products, some very popular products, I might add, along with some that are likely to end up on the sale rack, Republican shelves are practically empty, save for some discounted merchandise like a QAnon starter kit and a copy of Insurrection for Dummies. Instead of adding new and improved items to compete with the Democrats' overflowing racks, Republicans are trying to limit store hours, open the doors late and close them early, prohibit you from buying any products online, and empower store managers to lurk menacingly behind you as you consider buying the other guy's goods. While Democrats want as many people to have access to Parties R Us and work to keep their sections of the store neat and organized, to create a pleasant shopping experience, the Republicans are intentionally trying to ruin yours. Their departments are a mess. The dressing rooms cluttered. The pricing confusing. The hope being that you might be so distracted by the chaos, you won't notice they're selling fakes and damaged goods. This total collapse of the Republican Party is very bad for the country. Former President George Washington warned about this in his farewell address in 1796. In putting party before country, he spoke of the, quote, baneful effects of the spirit of party. He said, It serves always to distract the public councils and enfeeble the public administration. It agitates the community with ill-founded jealousies and false alarms, kindles the animosity of one part against another, foments occasionally riot and insurrection. If that sounds eerily prescient, it was. The Republican agenda under Trump did distract, enfeeble, and agitate. It did stir up in our communities ill-founded jealousies and false alarms. It turned Americans against Americans. It ended in insurrection. And yet Republicans appear to be content with ensuring their own demise, backing the former guy and his destructive impulses, abandoning principle and policy for more distraction and fear-mongering, and locking the doors to the store instead of restocking the shelves. It's a sad and dangerous state of affairs, but make no mistake, Republicans are doing it all to themselves. Okay, that's it for me. See you next week.